So now that we are able to create new quarks, that we are able to see the feed, that we are able to edit or delete a quark, let's just clean a little bit up and tweak some stuff in the page. So for example, right now we are just showing the time of a quark, and it would be nice to have a more readable way to say when this was posted, right? So instead of showing the whole the whole date, what we want to do is just, for example, say, okay, 4 hours ago or 9 hours ago or whatever, right? So let's go straight forward. We also don't have access direct, so if I go to dashboard, I lose track of that page. I cannot navigate back. So let's also change this. So first of all, let's go with our navbar, and therefore what we're gonna do, we are gonna go into our components, into our layouts. We have that authenticator layout, and if we look for the dashboard, we have 2 navigations in here. First, we have the navigation links. So these are the navigations for our browser in a big page, in a desktop. And if we make this smaller, we also have another navigation that we can find below. I believe it's somewhere in here. There it is. So we have our responsive navigation menu, and this is this one that you see right now in the page. So if we just, let's change it, instead of dashboard, let's say timeline. Okay, and I'm also going to put timeline in here. So right now, if we go back to our page, it should say timeline, perfect. And if I make this bigger again, it says timeline. But it still brings me to the dashboard, and I don't want to go to dashboard. I want to go to timeline. So actually, what we can do is, let's have a look into the roads that Laravel Breeze provided. This is in roads, web, and here we have a dashboard. So let's switch this for timeline. If we switch this for timeline, okay, it should still work, if I'm not wrong. Okay, it gives us an error because we changed dashboard to timeline. Okay, and it still works. As you see, we just changed the URL, but the name is exactly the same in our road. So we can just go to our terminal and say PHP artisan road list, and you see timeline here. We changed it, but let me make this a little bit bigger so that you can see it. The name is still dashboard. So let's switch this also in order to call it timeline. This is because we called here the name dashboard. If we change it to timeline, if we do it, there are going to be some problems. So let's go back in here, and you see we cannot see anymore the dashboard or the timeline, because the road, it says in the console, the road dashboard is not in the road list. This is because in our authenticated layout, when we call the timeline, we are looking for road dashboard. And also in the other one, in the responsive navigation, we are also looking for road dashboard. So let's have a look in the whole project. Let's search in the whole project for it. And we see that we have in the welcome.vue a reference to road dashboard. in the authenticator layout twice, 3 times actually. So we can see that we have the link, the nav link, and the responsive nav link. So let's see this link. This is when we click the logo, application logo. So we could actually just, with Command D, select them all, switch them for timeline. And if we search again, we only have one reference this time, and this is in the welcome screen. So let's go in there and change this here also to timeline. Perfect, it works. The only thing that we are missing now is to show here the quarks, the timeline or the feed line of our application. Let's go back to our routes. Perfect. You see here we are rendering dashboard. That's not what we want to render. We want to render a component called timeline, probably. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's go to our JS. We have here a lot of components. This one is inside pages. So let's close this one. This is the dashboard actually. And we have a lot of ways to do this. So we could actually just replicate, copy, paste in here what we did in our page, in our Quarks page. So you can see this is the Quarks page. And get rid of this, for example. That would be a possibility. Another possibility would be to extract this all to another component and reuse it in both places. But for now, what we can do is way easier than that. It's just in our road. Just say, okay, here what you need to do is use the Quarks index component. So if you remember, in our controller, what we did here in the index, we just said inertia render Quarks index and pass in all this. So if we just, I'm gonna steal it from here and go to the road, and in our timeline, we're just gonna return the same. Yes, let me import it. Great, thank you. And now you see in our timeline is directly the our timeline here. So that means that actually the Quarks endpoint is exactly the same. Doesn't matter, we can clean it up later. And if we go to dashboard, here it says dashboard, we should change it. Here's our timeline. Great. Okay, for now, let's move this out. So let's change the date. Therefore, we will use a library in JavaScript that's called day.js. So let's go and install it. Let's go to our, let's stop our development server here and just let's install it, npm yarn or whatever you use, install day.js. Okay, done. Perfect. Now what we can do, we go, let's start our server again. npm run dev. Actually it's npm. Sorry. Okay, server is up and running. Everything is loading. That's great. And now what we can do, we can go to our code. Let's go into our quark.vue file. And here we are going to import. So remember, this is the single Quark. So this is this item here. So we are going to import in there the day.js. So import day.js from day.js, great. And we also need to import the relative time. Relative time from day.js plugin relative time. Perfect. So what we're gonna do in here as well is just say that day.js extend the relative time. Relative time. So, and now we can go to the date here and say that we want that new date, like we have it there. We want to remove it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change this for day.js. We're gonna provide the quack.created at from now. So from this moment on, how long is it ago that it's created? We can remove this actually. We don't need this anymore. And if we go now to our page, you see, it's so nice, so easy. 2 hours ago, an hour ago. So if I just quack something, a few seconds ago. So and this will just change when time goes by. So if I just upload, reload. Okay, we will see it in a couple of minutes. Perfect. This is one of the great things that we wanted to improve. We also wanted to improve that. And another thing that I want to improve in here is also to see when one of the quirks was edited. So if I edit this one, nobody knows if this one is edited, right? So let's just implement this. It's very, very easy. Okay, in order to do this, we can just, we know when the quirk was created, and we also know when it was edited. Therefore, what we are going to implement in here is just below the date itself, another small tag that just says, for example, something like edited. So let me just, ampersand me dot, and we just want to put edited in here. Let's also give it a text of gray 600 and text SM. So let's see how it looks like. Perfect. So it says edited. Yeah, we only want to show it when it was edited. So, and for that, what we do is just we compare both dates. So if we just say quack.created@ is different than quack.updated@, we need to wrap it into an VF. So if the created@ date is different than the updated@ date, then we show this. So let's have a look. And we see that exactly this one was edited and the rest not. 2 minutes ago, so we see that that implementation works as well. This is edited, this is not edited. Let's see if we can edit quack with an edit. Let's save it. And there it shows. Awesome. We are getting very, very close to full feature complete Twitter clone. So we're still missing a lot of stuff of course, we cannot upload images, we cannot mention anybody, we cannot follow anybody, but we will go through all this step by step. Before finishing this video, we should also notice that because of our redirections, we are still redirected to the Quarks endpoint, and we should change it because this is our main entry point, our timeline, and for the users, we should not redirect them to another endpoint. So if you see, if I just edit and save, you see it's redirected to the Quarks endpoint. So in order to change this, what we can do is we can go to our code, and here where we say on success, so editing false, when we edited it, you remember that on our controller we were redirecting here to the Quarks index. So instead of the Quarks index, we're going to redirect to the timeline, and also the same for this. Oh, this was actually the store, and also the same for the update. So we don't want to be redirected to the index and the destroy method as well. So we always want to be redirected back to the timeline. So let's go in there. Let's see it, how it works. Go back to our timeline, refresh. I'm gonna clean everything up. So new Quark with redirect to the timeline. Yeah, we are still there. That's great. And now let me edit this one with an edit and redirect to the timeline. Let's save it. Yeah, perfect. And last but not least, when we delete one Quark, we are redirected back to the timeline. Great.